The air at 4 meters down does not smell like the surface. It is older. It carries the mineral breath of closed spaces, the limestone exhalation of rooms that have not seen sunlight since before your grandmother learned to write her own name. You are on your knees in the trench, not literally, but energetically, spiritually. Your hands are cramped around a trowel you did not know you had been holding, and the dirt under your fingernails is not dirt. It is the accumulated sediment of every almost, every not quite, every love you buried because it seemed easier than building a shrine. I am beside you. I have been brushing away the dust for longer than you realize. And what is emerging from the earth beneath your life is going to require you to stand very still, because the ground you thought was barren is actually a site of extraordinary significance. You are not digging for bones, Virgo. You are excavating your own heart. And the heart, it turns out, is a layered thing. We do not rush an excavation. That is the first rule, and it is the one your impatient mind hates most. You want to thrust the spade in, lever up the past in one dramatic motion, read the verdict, and move on to the next task. But love does not yield to force. Love yields only to patience, to the soft persistence of the camel hair brush circling the same inch of soil for an hour until the glint becomes a surface. The surface becomes an object, and the object becomes a revelation. You have been living on the assumption that your love life is a field plowed clean by disappointment. You have walked the surface of yourself and heard only the hollow echo of your own footsteps. But I am telling you now, with the certainty of someone who has spent the night in the trench with a lantern while you slept, that the hollow sound is not emptiness. It is the resonance of a chamber beneath your feet, a chamber that is intact, a chamber that has been waiting. Let us begin with the topsoil, the first 30 centimeters, the recent debris. This is what you have been sifting through for months, maybe years, and it has convinced you that the site is ruined. Here we find the shards of a recent vessel, a cup perhaps, something that held liquid once, wine, water, the ordinary nourishment of affection, and was dropped. The break is clean but recent. You can see the fresh white at the edges of the ceramic where it sheared apart. This is the relationship that ended, or the date that never materialized, or the slow erosion of hope that left you believing the surface of your life was the whole story. You have been cataloging these shards with your usual thoroughness. You have assigned them dates. You have drawn the fracture patterns in your notebook. You have concluded, because you are meticulous and because the evidence at this layer supports it, that the site was abandoned, that whoever lived here left in a hurry, or died out, or simply forgot the way back. But look closer. The ash layer is thin, too thin for a true destruction. Where is the charcoal? Where is the scorched earth that would signal a fire that consumed everything? It is not here. The ash is ceremonial. Purification ash. Someone burned the old offerings to make room for new ones. The fire was controlled. It was sacred. And beneath it, the soil is darker, richer, more fertile than it has any right to be after what you have been through. This is the first correction I need to make to your records. You have not been walking through a wasteland. You have been walking through a field that was deliberately fallowed. The universe did not abandon this plot. It rested it. It let the nitrogen of solitude rebuild what constant harvest had depleted. And now the earth is ready again. It is darker than you remember. It smells of potential. You just could not read the signs because you were trained to look for bloom, and the fallow field looks like failure to the untrained eye. Drop down another meter. The soil changes color. We are in the ochre layer now, the umber band, where the clay holds moisture differently. Here we find the small things, the lost things, a bead, a coin with the face worn smooth by handling, a fibula, a clasp that once held a garment together at the shoulder. These are the artifacts of your daily longing. The bead is the song you heard in the grocery store that made you stop between the cereal and the milk, unable to move, because the lyrics described a feeling you had not admitted you were having. The coin is the dream you dismissed, the one where they were standing in a doorway you did not recognize, and you woke up with the taste of copper in your mouth. The fibula is your own resilience, the mechanism that has kept your heart from flying apart even when the fabric of your life was under immense strain. You have been so focused on what is missing that you have not noticed what has remained. The clasp still works. The garment, though worn, is still wearable. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from a place of deep, hidden integrity. And now we reach the hard layer, the caliche, the white deposit that forms when water evaporates and leaves its minerals behind. This is where most people stop digging. The trowel skids, the wrist aches. The rational mind says there is nothing below this but more stone. But the caliche is not bedrock. It is only the salt of old tears that has cemented itself into a barrier. It looks permanent. It is not. It yields to vinegar. It yields to patience. It yields to the understanding that what hardens can also soften if the conditions are right. You have been telling yourself that you are too guarded now, too calcified, too full of the white residue of disappointment to let anyone in again. But I am brushing the caliche away, and beneath it the wall is emerging, a painted wall, colors still visible under the patina of centuries. The brush moves in circles, the dust rises like incense, and the image comes clear. It is a fresco, not a grand scene of battle or conquest, something smaller, something domestic and devastating in its intimacy. Two figures seated across from each other at a low table. They are not touching, not yet, but their hands are on the table, palms down, fingers slightly spread, and the space between their hands is charged with a golden pigment that has not faded. That gold is the recognition. The soul knowing, the thing that happened the first time you met them, or saw them, or heard their voice, that made your internal architecture shift a single degree off its previous axis. You told yourself it was nothing. You told yourself you were tired or hungry or projecting. But the fresco does not lie. The artist who painted this, whether in another life, another dream, or the quiet studio of your own unconscious, knew exactly what they were depicting. Two people who have known each other before. Two people who are meeting again not as strangers but as correspondents, resuming a conversation that was interrupted by death or time or the simple cruelty of geography. The figure on the left is you. I can tell by the posture, the slight forward lean, the way your attention is directed entirely at the other person, as if they are the only text worth reading. The figure on the right is the one who is coming, or the one who is already here, standing just outside the radius of your awareness, waiting for you to look up from your excavation long enough to notice them. Their face in the painting is turned 3/4 away, but their hand is reaching, not grasping, reaching. The gesture is tentative. It is the reach of someone who is afraid they have arrived too late, or too early, or in the wrong costume for the play, but they are reaching nonetheless, and the fresco captures the exact moment before contact. The moment where everything is still possible and nothing has been decided. That moment Virgo, is where you are living right now. That is the energetic address of your love life. Not the emptiness you feared, the charged, trembling, unbearably alive space before the hands meet. We must go deeper. The fresco is only the wall of the room. There is a door in the corner, sealed with plaster and time. Behind it, the air has not moved in what feels like forever. I am working the edges with a pick so fine it looks like a needle. The plaster crumbles. The door gives, and the draft that escapes smells of honey and old wine and something darker, something like myrrh, something like the scent of a church at midnight when the candles have just been extinguished and the wax is still warm. This is the chamber of their heart, the heart of the one who is reaching toward you. And it is not empty. It is not the bare cell of someone who has moved on. It is a treasury. In the center of the room sits an amphora, sealed. The clay is the color of their skin, in your imagination, the terracotta of their unguarded moments. The seal is intact. It has never been broken. Not because no one has tried, but because the contents were always meant for a specific recipient. For you, the label, if we could read the script, would bear your name, not the name your parents gave you, but the name your soul answers to, the name that is whispered in the space between thoughts. I am not going to tell you to break the seal. That is not my role. But I am going to describe what is inside, because the energy of it is so potent that it has begun to seep through the clay, staining the earth around it with a darkness that is sweet, intoxicating, and absolutely unmistakable. Inside the amphora is their confession, not words, something denser, a preserve, the concentrated essence of every moment they have spent thinking of you since your paths first crossed. The time they saw you from across a room and forgot what they were saying mid-sentence. The time they looked up your birthday and noted your moon sign with a seriousness that surprised even them. The time they were with someone else, maybe physically, maybe only in the attempt, and found themselves unable to continue because their body refused to participate in a lie. All of that is in there, fermented, aged, reduced to its essential, undiluted truth. And the truth is this: they have already chosen you. They made the choice before they had permission, before they had evidence that you would ever reciprocate, before the timing made sense. They chose you the way a plant chooses the sun, without rhetoric, without negotiation, with the simple biological certainty that you are the source of their growth. You think you are the only one who analyzes. You are not. They have analyzed you with a thoroughness that would impress even your Virgo mind. They know your patterns. They know that you deflect with competence. They know that you offer to help before you offer to need. They know that your love language is acts of service wrapped in the protective coating of usefulness because you were taught early that neediness was a disqualifying fault. And they have decided, with the full weight of their adult intention, that they are willing to be useful to you. They are willing to be the person who brings you tea without being asked. The person who notices that your left shoulder tightens when you are lying about being fine. The person who learns the names of your demons so they can address them politely when they show up unannounced at dinner. They have studied you, and their study has not diminished their desire. It has deepened it. They want the version of you that you hide behind the organized shelves and the color-coded calendars. They want the version that is still, somehow, after everything, hopeful. There is a mirror in the chamber. leaning against the wall, filmed with dust but intact. This is the part of the reading that is hardest to deliver. The mirror shows not their face, but yours. And the reflection is not the one you are used to seeing in this mirror. You are not tired. You are not managing. You are not the one holding the trowel covered in the dust of other people's debris. In this mirror, you are radiant. You are desired. You are the object of a devotion so thorough that it has outlasted silence, distance, and your own refusal to believe in it. The person in the mirror is the you that exists in their mind, the you they are trying to reach. And the gap between that reflection and the face you show the world is the exact distance they are trying to cross. They are afraid. I must tell you this, because the amphora is sealed not out of secrecy, but out of terror. They are afraid that if they open themselves, if they pour out the contents of their heart, you will analyze the offering instead of receiving it. They are afraid that you will catalog their confession, cross-reference it with past disappointments, and file it under insufficient evidence. They are afraid that your need for certainty will demand a guarantee they cannot yet provide, a blueprint for a future they are still drawing, and so they wait. They wait in the chamber of their own longing, preserving the wine, keeping the seal intact, hoping that you will sense the aroma on the wind and come to them. They are waiting for a sign from you that it is safe to emerge, that the excavation is complete, that you are ready to build something on this site rather than simply study it. But we are not finished digging. There is one more layer. Below the chamber, below the fresco, below the topsoil and the ash, we strike the foundation stone. And here the work changes. Here we are no longer archaeologists. We are geologists. We are reading the bedrock. The stone is not local. It has been carried from somewhere else, from a great distance, from a terrain that no longer exists on any map we can read. This foundation was laid before your current lifetime. This is the soulmate signature, not the sentimental version they sell in greeting cards, the real thing, the weight of it. The stone remembers the heat of its forging, and when I press my ear to it, I can hear the echo of a vow made in a language that predates English, predates Latin, predates the Indo-European root. A vow that said, "We will find each other, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary." This is why the connection feels so heavy, so inevitable, so terrifyingly specific. You are not building on sand. You are building on a promise that your bones remember even when your mind has forgotten. And that is why their presence in your life or their imminent arrival does not feel like a new development. It feels like a return, like a key turning in a lock that was always meant for it. The resistance you feel is not to them. It is to the magnitude of what is being asked of you, because a foundation this old, this deep, requires a structure worthy of it. You cannot build a shack on bedrock like this. The universe will not allow it. The universe is asking you to construct a cathedral, and cathedrals take time. They take faith. They take the willingness to work without seeing the finished spire. What I need you to understand about this reading, Virgo, is that the excavation is not the end, it is the preparation. You have been spending your energy trying to determine whether the site is worth the effort, whether the artifacts are genuine, whether the fresco is a forgery and the amphora is empty. You have been demanding proof before you will commit to the dig. But archeology does not work that way. Love does not work that way. You must commit to the excavation before you know the full extent of what you will find. You must dig in the dark, on your knees, with a taste of limestone in your mouth, trusting that the glint in the soil is not a trick of the light, but the edge of something real. And I am here to tell you that it is real. The chamber is real. The wine is real. The fresco is real. The foundation is older than your fear and more permanent than your doubt. The sun is rising now. The trench is illuminated. You can see the stratigraphy clearly, each band of color telling the story of a different epoch of your heart. The topsoil with its recent breaks, the ochre layer with its lost and found objects, the caliche that you mistook for permanence, the fresco with its two reaching figures, the sealed door and the chamber beyond, and below it all, the bedrock vow. The site is not ruined, it is sacred. And the person who is moving toward you slowly, carefully, with the same reverence you would bring to a holy place, they know it. They sense it. They have been dreaming of this excavation since before they had words for it. They wake up with the taste of honey and old stone in their mouths, not knowing why, not understanding that their soul is remembering the chamber where their heart has been stored, waiting for you to arrive with the right tool, the right touch, the right patience to break the seal. So here is what you need to know. The reading is not a prediction. It is a map of what already exists beneath the surface of your life. The love is not coming. It is here. It has been here. It has been waiting for you to stop walking the surface and start digging. The person who belongs to this chamber is closer than you think. They may have already appeared in your life, disguised as a colleague, a friend, a stranger on a train whose eyes held yours 1 second too long. Or they may be about to arrive, drawn by the gravitational pull of a foundation that is calling out for its matching stone. Either way, the work is the same. You must be willing to get dirty. You must be willing to kneel. You must be willing to believe that what is buried is not dead but only sleeping, and that your hands are the hands it has been waiting for. Do not cover the trench. Do not fill it in and plant grass over it and pretend that you imagined the fresco. Do not let your fear of the amphora's potency convince you that you prefer the safety of an empty field. The field is not empty. It is full. It is rich. It is ready to bear fruit that has been ripening in the dark since before you were born. Pick up the trowel. Keep brushing. The next layer is the one where your hand meets theirs across the golden space of the table. The next layer is the one where the seal breaks and the wine is poured. The next layer is the one where you stop excavating the past and start building the future. The lantern is still lit. The tools are laid out. The earth has given up its secrets to those patient enough to ask. And the asking, Virgo, is the only prayer that has ever mattered. Ask, dig, reach. The foundation will hold. It has held for lifetimes. It will hold for this one. And the structure that rises from it will be the home your heart has been trying to remember since the day it first began to beat.